I still can't believe this happened to me. A friend I trusted like a brother filed a theft case against me. He dragged me to court, I lost my job, my respect, and even my parents started to believe I really stole something. I fell in their eyes, my friends looked at me with disgust, and my whole world collapsed. In just one day, everything changed. I never imagined my own life could turn this dark. But that was just the beginning. I never believed in miracles until I became one. Let me tell you what happened to me. This is my story, and I swear on my mother's life, every word is true. I'm 24 years old. For my entire life, I lived with my parents in a rented apartment in Milwaukee. 2 bedrooms, thin walls, neighbors you could hear arguing every night. Dad's a mechanic, hands always dirty, back always hurting. Mom's a housewife, makes magic with coupons and ground beef. And me, I work in a corporate office, sending emails nobody reads, attending meetings that should have been emails. 24 years in that apartment. 24 years of watching rent go up while our dreams went down. So I started saving. Every dollar I could squeeze out of my paycheck went into savings. 5 years of saying no to drinks with friends, no to vacations, no to everything. I had one goal, buy my parents a house before they died in that apartment. Finally saved enough for a down payment, went to every bank in the city. Same story everywhere, interest rates that would double the loan before I paid it off. My credit score wasn't bad, but it wasn't good enough for people like us. I was at the bar with my friend Derek one night, known him since high school. He made it big in real estate while I was stuck in cubicle hell. I told him about the banks and he said something that changed my life. How much you need? 150,000. I'll loan it to you, no interest. I laughed. Derek, come on. Mark, you remember junior year when my dad left? You gave me your lunch money for 3 months straight so I could eat. You tutored me so I wouldn't fail math. Let me pay you back. That was different. Look, I'll come by tomorrow night. Bring the money in cash. No banks, no paperwork between brothers. Just pay me back when you can. The next night, Derek showed up at our apartment, black duffel bag in his hand. My parents were home, watching TV in the living room. Derek came in, put the bag on our kitchen table. Count it, he said. $150,000 in cash. My hands were shaking as I counted. Derek, I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, just buy your parents that house, and when you make it big, help someone else. We hugged. My mom made him stay for coffee. Dad shook his hand, called him a good man. Derek left around 10 p.m. and I deposited the money the next morning. Found a house in 2 weeks, 3 bedrooms, small yard, garage that actually locked. The seller needed to sell fast because of divorce. Everything felt like destiny. Moving day was beautiful. April sunshine, birds singing, mom humming while packing boxes. First night in the house, I couldn't sleep. Kept walking through rooms, touching walls that were ours. Mom had already hung her cross in the living room. I stood there and actually prayed for the first time in years, just said thank you. 2 weeks later, a process server knocked on our door. Derek was suing me for theft, claimed I stole $150,000 from him. No mention of friendship, no mention of a loan, just theft, fraud, and criminal charges. I called him immediately. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. Derek, what the hell is this? Business Mark, nothing personal. Nothing personal, you came to my house, you gave me the money, my parents were there. Prove it, your parents, they'll say anything to protect you. Show me a contract, show me proof I gave you anything. You said no paperwork between brothers. Exactly, and now you can't prove anything. You want to keep the house? Pay me back with 30% interest, otherwise see you in court. He hung up. I drove to his office, but security wouldn't let me up. So I waited in the parking garage, 3 hours until he finally came out. I got on my knees. I'm not proud of it, but I literally got on my knees in that parking garage, oil stains and broken glass cutting through my pants. Please, Derek, whatever I did to you, I'm sorry. Take the case back. He looked down at me with this smile, this cold, empty smile. You know what your problem is? You think being good matters. You think the universe keeps score. It doesn't. There's no karma, no God, no justice, just winners and losers. Guess which one you are. He stepped over me and drove away in his Tesla. The legal aid lawyer reviewed my case for 15 minutes. My parents' testimony wouldn't be enough. Their family considered biased. Without independent proof of the loan, I was looking at criminal charges. The court gave me 30 days to pay back the money plus 30% interest, $195,000. So I got a second job, delivered food from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. before my office job, drove Uber from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. after. 4 hours of sleep, gas station coffee, and pure desperation. That was my life. Every morning, sitting in my car before the first delivery, I'd talk to God, or whoever was listening. I tried to do something good. I tried to take care of my parents. How is this fair? If you're there, if you're real, help me, please. Nothing, just silence and the smell of coffee getting cold. 2 weeks before the deadline, everything changed. I was doing my night delivery route. June rain, the heavy kind that turns streets into rivers. Midnight, heading home, counting tips in my head, $17 closer to impossible. That's when I saw it. A black duffel bag sitting by a storm drain on Burleigh and 27th. Half in the street, half on the sidewalk, just sitting there in the rain. I almost didn't stop, but something, instinct, maybe God, I don't know, made me pull over. The bag was heavy. I looked around, empty street, no cars, just rain hammering down. I opened it. Money, stacks and stacks of $100 bills wrapped in rubber bands, more money than I'd ever seen in my life. I stood there in the rain holding what looked like $200,000, enough to pay Derek, enough to save everything. It was right there in my hands. Gift from God, karma, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I could have taken it, who would know, finders keepers right. Instead, I put the bag in my car and drove straight to the police station. The desk sergeant looked at me like I'd lost my mind when I put that soaking wet bag on his counter. Found this corner of Burleigh and 27th. They counted it in front of me, $208,000. They took my information, gave me a receipt. According to law, if nobody claims it in 30 days, it's yours. 30 days. 30 days. I laughed. The deadline was in 14 days. 30 days would be 16 days too late. The cops looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was. I went home and told my parents everything. Mom held my hand while I explained how I just turned in enough money to save us but wouldn't get it in time. You did the right thing, she said. The right thing is gonna cost us the house. Then we go back to the apartment. It's just walls and a roof. That's when I broke down, cried like I hadn't since I was a kid. Mom held me, humming church songs, telling me God sees everything even when we can't see him working. 14 days passed. I kept working both jobs, knowing it wouldn't be enough. Then, exactly 30 days after I turned in the money, my phone rang. Mr. Williams, nobody claimed the money. It's yours. Come pick it up. I sat in my car laughing and crying at the same time, picked up a cashier's check that afternoon, deposited it, paid Derek through the court, $195,000, done, over. I thought that was the end. But 2 months later, August, I'm sitting on our porch when our old landlord, Mr. Kowalski, pulls up. He's carrying an iPad, walking fast. Marcus, you need to see this. He shows me security footage from his building. The date is from 6 months ago, the night Derek came to give me the money. I installed cameras in the hallway last year, Kowalski explained. Never told tenants for security. Look at this. The video is crystal clear. There's Derek walking into our apartment building at 8:47 p.m. carrying a black duffel bag. At 10:03 p.m. he's leaving, no bag. You can see him stopping to talk to Mrs. Chen in the hallway. You can see him holding the door for another neighbor. This proves he came to your apartment with the money, Kowalski said. This proves he gave it to you. My hands started shaking. Why are you showing me this now? I was reviewing old footage for insurance after a break-in. When I saw this, I remembered your trouble with him, figured you might need it. Can you send me this? Already did, and Marcus, I already sent it to the district attorney too, figured you might want backup. I filed charges the next morning: fraud, perjury, filing false police reports, extortion. The district attorney took one look at that video and took the case personally. But it got better. Mrs. Chen, our old neighbor from the apartment, she remembered that night, testified that Derek told her he was helping out Mark with a loan. She'd asked him if he was a banker now, and he'd laughed and said, no, just a friend helping a friend. At trial, Derek's lawyer tried to argue the video didn't prove what was in the bag. Then the prosecutor pulled out bank records showing Derek withdrew exactly $150,000 in cash that same day, 2 hours before coming to our apartment. When the judge asked Derek why he lied, Derek just stared at me. I wanted to teach him a lesson about trusting people. Well, the judge said, you've taught him one. You've taught him that justice might be slow, but it's certain. 5 years for fraud, perjury, and extortion, plus full restitution to Mr. Williams, plus damages, plus all legal fees. But here's the part that still gives me chills. Remember the money I found? $208,000. Nobody ever claimed it. Police investigated, no reports of stolen money matching that amount. It was clean. Later, I found out Derek had been bragging to people about his foolproof plan to destroy me. He thought even if I paid him back, he'd broken me, made me lose faith in people, in friendship, in justice. He was wrong. That night after the verdict, I went back to that corner where I found the money. Burley and 27th, sat there thinking about the odds. What are the chances that I find exactly enough money to save me, that nobody claims it, that my old landlord happens to have security footage from 6 months ago, that he reviews it right when I need it, that Mrs. Chen remembers that exact conversation? You can call it coincidence, but that's a lot of coincidences. People ask me now, my mom left this world. The women who were supposed to love me betrayed me for another man. And worst of all, we lost our home. Our family was gone. Then God sent a miracle that changed everything. I didn't believe in Jesus, not really. I thought people made him up to feel better about their broken lives. I thought faith was just a crutch for weak people who couldn't handle reality. I was so wrong. Let me tell you how wrong I was. I was 23 when my mom got sick. Cancer, stage 4. The doctors gave her 3 months. She lasted 6, fighting for every breath, and you know what her last wish was? Not to see the ocean, not to travel. She wanted to see me married. I want to know you'll have someone when I'm gone, she said, holding my hand with what little strength she had left. I want to see you happy before I go. So I got married, arranged marriage through family friends. The girl was nice enough, came from a good family, and I had a decent job at a tech company. It wasn't love, but it was my mother's dying wish. We got married 2 weeks before she passed. She smiled at the wedding, real smile, first one I'd seen in months. That made it worth it. After Mom died, life moved forward like it does. My wife and I figured out how to live together. 2 years passed. We had a daughter, beautiful little girl who looked just like her mother, but had my stubborn streak. By the time she turned 3, I thought we'd made it work. We had a small house, steady income, normal problems. Life was good, stable. Then things started changing. My wife started coming home late, first just an hour here and there. Traffic, she'd say, then it became 2 hours, 3 hours. Went shopping with friends, had dinner with coworkers. I didn't question it at first. We were both young, 26 and 25. She deserved to have a life outside our house. But it kept getting worse. One night, I'm watching TV with my daughter. She loved these cartoon shows that played the same commercials over and over. This one ad kept coming on. Best homes, best locations, cheapest prices in the city. Why rent when you can own? The more I saw it, the more it made sense. Why were we throwing money away on our mortgage when we could get something better, bigger, for less? I called the number. The man who answered was so professional, so convincing. He said they were a new company, disrupting the market, cutting out the middlemen. We have a beautiful 4-bedroom house, perfect for a growing family, half what you're paying now. I told my wife that night. She was excited, more excited than I'd seen her in months. Let's do it. We can use our savings for furniture, vacations, better schools for our daughter. So we did it, sold our house, got a decent profit, took out a loan from the bank for the new place, signed all the paperwork. The whole process took 2 months, and during those 2 months my wife was barely home. But I was too busy with the house stuff to really notice. Moving day came, we packed everything, hired movers, drove to the new address. The house was already occupied. A family of 5 been living there for 10 years. They had no idea what we were talking about. I called the company, number disconnected, website gone, office address didn't exist. We'd been scammed, everything gone. Our old house sold, money transferred to scammers, loan from the bank still due. We had nothing. I'm standing there on some stranger's lawn, moving truck behind me, daughter asking why we can't go inside our new house, and my phone starts ringing. My friend calling. Bro, turn on the news, now. The scam was all over the news. Dozens of families, same story, fake company, fake contracts, fake everything. The reporters were calling it the biggest real estate fraud in the state's history. The police came 2 hours later, told us they'd seized all the properties. We had to leave immediately. They'd provide temporary housing, a motel, for a few days while we figured things out. When I got to work the next day, everyone knew. Some coworkers were sympathetic, others weren't. How could you not check? Didn't you verify the company? I would never fall for something so obvious. The humiliation was almost worse than losing the money. That evening, I came back to our motel room. My daughter was alone, crying on the bed. She was only 3, but she knew something was wrong. "Where's Mommy?" I asked. She handed me a piece of paper, still sobbing. "Mommy said give this to you." The letter was short. My wife was leaving. She'd been seeing someone else, someone she'd dated before our marriage. She couldn't handle this disaster. She was sorry, but she'd only married me because her parents forced her. Now that we'd lost everything, she saw no reason to pretend anymore. I sat there holding my crying daughter in a motel that smelled like cigarettes and despair, with divorce papers and foreclosure notices, and I did something I hadn't done since Mom's funeral. I prayed. "Jesus, if you're real, if you're there, help me. I don't know what I did to deserve this. My mom's gone, my wife's gone, my money's gone, but this little girl needs me and I don't know how to save us. Please help me." Nothing happened, no voice from heaven, no sudden miracle. Just silence and my daughter eventually crying herself to sleep. The next 2 days I searched for apartments. Everything was too expensive. My credit was destroyed from the scam. Nobody wanted to rent to someone in my situation. The motel kicked us out on day 3, police voucher expired. I was walking down Madison Street with my daughter, all our belongings in 2 suitcases, trying to figure out where we'd sleep that night. The weather had been calm all day, but suddenly, out of nowhere, this massive wind kicked up, like someone turned on a giant fan. There was an old lady, maybe 70, same age my mom would have been, walking ahead of us. She was carrying a folder of papers, and when the wind hit, everything went flying. Documents scattered everywhere, spinning in the air like confetti. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the wind stopped. Dead calm, the papers floated down like snow. I put down our suitcases and helped her gather everything. Bank statements, medical records, family photos. While we picked them up, she kept looking at me and my daughter. "I haven't seen you around here before. You new to the neighborhood?" We're looking for a place to rent, me and my daughter." "Where's your wife?" Something about her eyes, the way she asked, made me tell her everything. The scam, the abandonment, the motel, all of it. I'm standing there on the sidewalk, spilling my guts to a complete stranger while my daughter plays with a stick she found. The old lady listened to everything. Then she smiled, this warm, knowing smile that reminded me so much of my mother. "Come with me." She led us 3 blocks to a small 2-story house. White fence, garden in front, wind chimes on the porch. Inside was clean, organized, but empty. Too empty, like someone living alone who'd given up trying to fill the space. "I live here by myself," she said. "My son lives in Germany. My husband passed 5 years ago. This house has 4 bedrooms and I only use 1. I eat dinner alone, watch TV alone, go to sleep alone. It would be nice to hear voices again, a child laughing." She started crying then, not sad tears, but lonely tears. The kind you cry when you realize how empty your life has become. "Stay here, you and your daughter. I don't want rent. I just want company. I want to feel like a grandmother. Is that okay?" I looked at this stranger who'd appeared exactly when I needed her, in a wind that came from nowhere and stopped for no reason, and I saw my mother's kindness in her eyes. "Yes," I said, "thank you." We moved in that day. My daughter had her own room for the first time since we lost the house. Mrs. Chen, that was her name, cooked dinner for us. Real food, not motel vending machines. My daughter called her Grandma Chen within a week. 2 days after we moved in, my phone rang. The police. "Mr. Williams, we've arrested the scammers, tracked them down through their bank accounts. We've seized all their assets. You'll be getting your money back, probably within a month. Full restitution." I sat there in Mrs. Chen's kitchen in this house that appeared when I needed it most, listening to news that came exactly when I'd stopped hoping for it, and I finally understood. The wind that scattered those papers, that wasn't random. Mrs. Chen needing help at that exact moment wasn't coincidence. Her loneliness matching our homelessness wasn't luck. The scammers getting caught right after we found shelter wasn't karma. It was Jesus, it was God, it was exactly what I'd prayed for, just not how I expected it. You want to know how God saved me from a car accident? When my life was broken, my dad was in the hospital, and my wife left me. You want to know what happened next? Click here to watch the full video.